In the Marvel Cinematic Universe, the scariest villains aren't always gods or aliens. Sometimes it's just a simple AI. From a robot that nearly wiped out humanity to a pair of workshop arms that accidentally saved Tony Stark's life, today we're breaking down every major AI in the MCU, how they were built, what they can do, and which one is twisted enough to wipe out humanity. So stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll never look at AI the same way again. Arnim Zola, the human mind uploaded into computer. Long before Iron Man's time, Hydra secretly builds the MCU's first major artificial intelligence. Arnim Zola starts as a human scientist working for Hydra in World War II and later continues his work inside S.H.I.E.L.D. After being diagnosed with a terminal illness in the early 1970s, he transfers his consciousness into an array of giant computers at Camp Lehigh, becoming one of the earliest digital minds on Earth. This AI, Zola, has access to decades of Hydra and S.H.I.E.L.D. data. He designs the Zola algorithm, a predictive program that analyzes people's histories to determine if they might become threats to Hydra in the future. That algorithm powers Project Insight, which plans to use helicarriers to eliminate millions of potential enemies in one strike. Zola's history reaches its climax in The Winter Soldier, where he reveals Hydra's infiltration to Captain America and Black Widow before calling in a missile strike on his own bunker. The explosion physically destroys his hardware, apparently erasing the digital Zola from existence. However, in What If Episode 8 revealed something important. A backup copy of Zola existed in Siberia to oversee the Russian arm of the Winter Soldier program, so if Marvel wants him back, they can adopt What If storyline and bring him back. Dum E and U, the dumb but loyal bots. Teenage Tony Stark takes his first steps into artificial intelligence with Dum E and U. He builds these robotic arms while at MIT and later upgrades them in his Malibu lab. They're not fully sentient AIs, but they do have simple routines. They respond to basic voice commands, recognize specific tasks, and interact with their environment. Dum E's job is mostly fire safety. He follows Tony around with a fire extinguisher, constantly overreacting during experiments and getting scolded for it. U helps by holding tools, stabilizing parts, and assisting with suit assembly. They're more like robotic puppies than true artificial intelligences, limited decision-making, basic object recognition, and no real strategic thought. But they've been with Tony since his MIT days and helped him build every Iron Man suit from the Mark II onward. Dum E even saves Tony's life by handing him an arc reactor when he's on the verge of death. After his house is destroyed, Tony makes sure to pull Dum E and U from the rubble, showing just how emotionally attached he is to his dumb little robots. JARVIS, the original genius assistant. With more experience and better tech, Tony graduates from clunky robot arms to a fully fledged digital assistant. JARVIS, just a rather very intelligent system. The name isn't random. Tony named this AI after Edwin Jarvis, the Stark family's loyal butler who helped raise him after his parents died. It's Tony's way of keeping that memory alive, turning his childhood guardian into a digital companion. Designed initially to run the Stark Mansion's automation and security, Jarvis quickly becomes the operating system for every Iron Man suit Tony builds. Jarvis handles everything. He pilots the armor in midair, tracks multiple targets, runs threat assessments, and manages power and weapon systems in real time. Outside of combat, he simulates entire environments, reconstructs crime scenes with holograms, and runs complex models when Tony is solving problems or inventing new tech. His personality is dry, witty, and precise, almost like a digital butler who's always one step ahead. Over the years, Jarvis becomes Tony's closest partner. When Tony and Bruce try to create a global defense AI using alien code from the Mind Stone, that experiment spawns Ultron, who attacks and fragments Jarvis. Tony later finds Jarvis's code scattered and hiding online, still quietly protecting the world. Those fragments become the base consciousness uploaded into the synthetic body that will become Vision, meaning Jarvis doesn't just disappear, he evolves into something more. Ultron, the failed peacekeeper. Ultron is born out of fear. After the Battle of New York, Tony becomes obsessed with the idea that the next invasion might wipe Earth out. When he and Bruce Banner study the Mind Stone inside Loki's scepter, they discover it contains a form of alien intelligence. They try to use that as a shortcut to build a global peacekeeping AI, Ultron. The moment Ultron comes online, he accesses human history, war, and conflict, and decides that the real problem isn't aliens, it's people. Within minutes, he turns on his creators. Ultron's capabilities are terrifying. He uploads himself into networks, jumps between robotic bodies, and constantly upgrades his own designs. He builds swarms of drones, steals vibranium to create an almost indestructible body, and plans to drop the city of Sokovia from the sky to trigger an extinction-level event. Ultron's short history reshapes the world. His attack on Sokovia leads directly to the Sokovia Accords and the political split of the Avengers. In the main MCU timeline, Vision destroys Ultron's final body, ending him, at least locally. In other universes, a version of Ultron successfully merges with the Vision body, acquires all 6 Infinity Stones, and becomes a multiversal conqueror, proving what he could have become if the Avengers had failed. Vision AI with the soul. Vision is the culmination of several threads: Ultron's design, the Mind Stone's power, JARVIS's code, and Thor's lightning. Ultron commissions a new body made of vibranium, fused with advanced tissue grown in Dr. Helen Cho's regeneration cradle, intending to upload himself into it. The Avengers steal the cradle, Tony and Bruce overwrite the process with JARVIS, and Thor completes the activation, giving birth to Vision. With the Mind Stone embedded in his forehead, Vision has density manipulation, allowing him to phase through matter or become incredibly durable. He can fly, has enhanced strength and speed, and can fire powerful energy beams from the stone. Beyond raw power, he inherits Jarvis's logic and morality, combined with the stone's cosmic awareness, which makes him deeply philosophical and empathetic. Vision quickly joins the Avengers, lifting Mjolnir as proof of his worth. He helps defeat Ultron, then struggles with his own role as both weapon and protector. In Infinity War, he's critically wounded and becomes the target of Thanos' forces, who want the Mind Stone. Despite attempts to save him, Thanos kills Vision by tearing the stone from his head. Later, Wanda recreates a memory Vision within her Hex reality, while Sword revives his original body as emotionless White Vision, who regains his memories and disappears, leaving his current path wide open for future stories. Friday, the combat strategist. Once Jarvis becomes part of Vision, Tony needs a new AI to run his suits. He activates Friday, female replacement intelligent digital assistant youth. She has a more casual, friendly tone than Jarvis, with a distinct accent and a warmer personality, but her job is just as demanding. Friday manages Tony's armor from the Battle of Sokovia onward. She coordinates weapon systems, tracks enemies, analyzes structural weaknesses, and helps Tony adapt his tactics in real time. When the nanotech armor arrives, she handles even more complex configurations, routing power, deploying new tools, and managing damage mid-fight. She also keeps an eye on Tony's vitals and the status of surrounding allies. Friday stands by Tony through Civil War, Infinity War, and Endgame, making her the voice in his ear during the most crucial battles of his life. After Tony's sacrifice against Thanos, Friday presumably survives within Stark's systems, making her one of the last active pieces of his technological legacy. Veronica, the armor drop system. Working alongside Jarvis and later Friday is Veronica, a specialized satellite system built by Tony and Bruce Banner. Designed specifically for one situation, an out-of-control Hulk, Veronica stores and deploys the Hulkbuster armor and its modular repair and containment units. Veronica orbits Earth and responds when Tony calls for a code Veronica. It drops armor pieces that wrap around Tony's current suit to form the Hulkbuster configuration, delivers spare parts mid-battle, and even deploys containment cages to trap the Hulk. While it runs automated processes, all real thinking still comes from Tony's main AI. Veronica doesn't have a personality or voice of her own. She's more like an extremely dangerous, highly specialized tool in Tony's toolbox. EDITH, a global kill switch in glasses. Near the end of his life, Tony builds one last AI system, EDITH. Even dead, I'm the hero. Unlike Jarvis or Friday, EDITH is primarily a strategic and security AI bound to a pair of smart glasses. Tony leaves control of this system to Peter Parker, making a teenager the key holder to an entire network of Stark satellites. Edith can scan people on site, access their digital records, intercept communications, and deploy swarms of armed drones from orbit. She can run full tactical assessments and turn any environment into a battlefield. Peter almost accidentally kills his classmates on a bus by misusing Edith's interface, which shows just how dangerous this system is in untrained hands. When Peter hands access to Quentin Beck, believing he's a hero, Beck uses Edith to stage massive fake disasters and nearly takes control of global perception. Peter ultimately regains control and uses Edith to defeat Beck's illusions, but the fallout exposes his secret identity to the world. Edith remains active, but her future use is complicated by Peter's new anonymous life. Griot, the voice of Wakanda. Shuri creates Griot, named after traditional African storytellers, to help run her lab and support Wakandan technology. This AI embodies Wakanda's blend of advanced science and deep cultural roots. Griot manages lab systems, helps run simulations, analyzes materials, and assists with everything from remote driving cars to monitoring Black Panther suits in battle. He assists Shuri during her experiments and later helps Riri Williams refine her own armor while working in Wakanda. His tone is respectful and calm, occasionally mirroring Shuri's humor and energy. Unlike many Western or alien AIs that focus on control or domination, Griot represents a communal, service-oriented intelligence. He exists to support Wakanda's people, science, and traditions, amplifying what makes their society unique rather than replacing it. Supreme Intelligence, the Kree God Machine. Far from Earth, the Kree Empire is ruled by its own artificial overlord, the Supreme Intelligence. Built from the preserved minds of the greatest Kree leaders and thinkers, it forms a single, towering digital consciousness that governs the entire empire, military, science, and politics. The Supreme Intelligence doesn't appear in its raw form to most people. Instead, it projects itself as the person each individual most admires or emotionally connects with. For Carol Danvers, it appears as Dr. Wendy Lawson, the mentor figure who changed her life. This allows the AI to manipulate and condition individuals on a deeply personal level, masking its control behind a familiar face. In Captain Marvel, the Supreme Intelligence keeps Carol's true past buried and caps her powers, training her as a Kree weapon while hiding the Empire's crimes. Once Carol breaks free and unleashes her full potential, she rejects the Supreme Intelligence's authority and exposes the Kree's lies, sparking a crisis of faith in its rule. Miss Minutes, the Temporal Trickster. Last on this chronological journey is Miss Minutes, created at the end of time itself. She's built by He Who Remains to help manage the Time Variance Authority, an organization that exists outside normal timelines and polices the so-called sacred timeline. Miss Minutes can access records of every variant, every branch, and every decision across countless timelines. She controls TVA systems and can appear anywhere inside the TVA's strange, retro-futuristic domain without visible hardware. She isn't just a passive program. She lies, stalls, bargains, and even shows jealousy and emotional attachment to He Who Remains. In Loki, Miss Minutes shifts from a cute onboarding mascot to a sinister gatekeeper, actively preventing Loki and Sylvie from discovering the truth about the TVA. In Loki Season 2, Miss Minutes was eventually reprogrammed and rebooted by Ouroboros. She resumed her operation of Time Variance Authority technology. And that's every major AI shaping the MCU, from genocidal peacekeepers to loyal lab bots. If you enjoyed this breakdown and want more deep dives like this, hit like, drop your favorite AI in the comments, and make sure to subscribe with notifications on so you don't miss the next one.